Usually, I absolutely love Minions shorts. I always find them so fun, so entertaining. Competition is not one of them. This was released in 2015. It's directed by Kyle Balda and Julien Soret, and it is not a good Minions short. It starts off okay, and then something happens. Well, the competition aspect happens in the middle, and I found that to be quite boring. And I was thinking, well, maybe that's my fault, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment. But then it went off in a different direction, and it was just very dull. So it starts off in an office environment. I really liked how it was animated. I was enjoying watching the minions interacting with their surroundings. That was really good fun. They're bored. They decide to start a boxing match, and then it becomes really dull to look at because all we have is the boxing ring. We don't really get to see anything in the background, and there's not much to keep me interested. I do not care about boxing at all. So for me, that was never going to appeal to me. It could have done, maybe if they'd done something different with it, but it did not work for me. But that might be my fault. I'm aware of that. I'd love to know what you think of it if you really like boxing. Was that part of it entertaining? But they still could have made the animation a little bit more interesting by giving those of us who don't care for boxing something else to look at. It could have been interesting. The minions themselves could have been funny, but they just weren't. The actions they were doing, it was boring. The sounds they were making were really dull. And then something happens in the final third of the animation, and I won't explain it, I won't spoil it, but I found that to be really tedious and not interesting, and like they were trying to make this a really strange animation and one that maybe doesn't make as much sense as some of the others, and they were trying to be really creative with it. But I just found it to be really, really boring. Definitely one of the weakest Minions shorts. Maybe the weakest, I'm not sure. I'd have to look back some of the others. But apart from that beginning and maybe that first third, I kind of hated it. I found it to be very boring, very disappointing. If you're a Minions fan, I would recommend it to form your own opinion. Maybe you'll like parts of it, but personally, I thought competition was very disappointing.